Cover the doorway as they start to defuse. Pengu goes for one on the Young. Can he go the second?
Min, what are you doing? What just happened? Why are you sprinting, Bio?
Hungry. He gets the Henry!
Oh, he's Moringa, are you ready for this?
Oh.
Yes! Pengu, are you kidding me?
Why am I so much better than you? God damn!
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. After 2 weeks away, 2 weeks of a break for you, for us, for teams, for everyone. And we are almost at the JONKOPING Major now. We are just a few days away, 4 days away from the JONKOPING Major. And this is our preview. We're going to have a little bit of a discussion. We're going to look at the groups, the biggest storylines, the most exciting matchups. And we're going to end it off with a little bit of trivia quiz about Sweden. And I'm really looking forward to that one, actually. Personally, David, I don't know about you.
Who doesn't love trivia? Who doesn't? I love it.
Yeah, although I remember the last time we had a Kahoot quiz, that was the Berlin Major. You did pretty badly.
Stop. I had problems with my Kahoot. Yeah, that's my excuse.
That's right. Get all the excuses out right now, because I'm sure the teams will have some excuses eventually too. When they start getting eliminated, everyone's gonna have some excuse or the other. But I think might as well jump into it. Although actually, before we jump into it, we have seen a couple of roster moves start happening. Most of them have been in APAC, I believe. So Damwon Kia released Katsang. Yesterday, today, they released Royboy. Royboy was on loan to Spear Gaming for the whole season, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
So they released him. They then, of course, Reject released
Window.
Take. Sorry, Window was set to be released, but now they announced that they're keeping him on as 6-man. Very interestingly, the person going to replace him is Copa Hippo from Northampton. You probably don't know who he is, but you'll know the other guy, Papilia, former Norarengo star player. Papilia is back after, I think, 2 years away, and now he's going to be back. So that's Reject making changes. Very interestingly, we also have, I think, Astralis. They bench DP Fire. I think this one we can talk a little bit more about, David. What are your thoughts on them just benching DP Fire?
He didn't have a good season, but I really think that none in Australis had a good season. For sure, something happened there in the team because we saw that the reactions were quite, not what maybe you expect. But yeah, I think that Australis have to be making a move after this stage. And honestly, the trend of the team was not going well after finishing in second place in the Charlotte Major. The team started some kind of downfall. They finished first in stage 2, that's right, but in Berlin there were problems.
Horrible.
There were
in Berlin.
they were they were trying to win in Oregon or other maps like Bank, and they just couldn't. They lost to Elevate, Furia, and I don't remember the third. But they did quite bad in that competition. And in the final stage they almost qualified, but they lost to Oxygen and some other games that they shouldn't have lost. And they are already qualified for SI. They have to try to look for a solution to upgrade for the big competition, because there's a team plays the whole year just to qualify for SI and play SI and win SI. So it's time to try to get better and improve.
Yeah. That's pretty much it for Australis, and pretty much it for changes. Although actually another kind of big-ish change. FTX obviously went bankrupt. It affects Furia, who are in Brazil, of course. They're not at the major. But TSM, they're going back to the normal TSM name. No more TSM FTX, and that's going to take effect at the major itself. I have to assume. The FTX part is gone. because that's what TSM announced yesterday in their statement. So
Yeah.
I think that's. I mean, TSM say they're
That's
not going to be
pretty much
affected.
it.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. There's a very good explainer on our website though. If you are interested about this whole shit show with crypto TSM, we have another article they released in July about just the crypto partnerships with R6org. So you can go and check those out. Very good articles written both by Hyder. So have a look at them. But we're gonna jump into a major preview right now. So let's pull up the groups over here, and this is actually really poorly positioned, the group stage thing, but here we go. And that should be a lot better. Okay, we have our groups, and I think might as well we start with Group A, right, David? We have Cyclops, Sonics, Eminem, and Black Dragons, and immediately I think you immediately you look at this and you think like, oh, okay, well, this is one of the best groups. This is one of the easiest overall
This
groups
is my
because
favorite.
this is your favorite
My
group?
favorite.
Oh,
Yeah.
crap, we have the music
This
on
is
again?
my
Damn it.
favorite group.
There we go. I don't know
I
why
love
this...
I
sorry.
love all of these teams. All of these teams. Well, I mean, Sonics because they are from America. Not my favorite here. In
Yeah.
fact, as a European fan, I hope that they finish in fourth. But I really like like now in a serious note, I really like the players Sonics. I think they have one of the most promising teams
Hmm.
in the whole scene. I think that they can improve a lot from what they have, and what they have is already a very rock solid roster with experience. Geometric brings a lot of experience. He won the Invitational year ago. Um, they still have Super not in the team but in the organization, which I'm sure that he still is going to give advice to the players.
Hmm.
They have very very good players like Rixer or Kanzen, Rexon as well, like Gunnar. We saw Gunnar's best version in for Parabellum. I think that Sonic's team has
This is...
a very room for improvement.
yeah, this is a very weird chat, David. I mean, while we have been talking, and I think I agree with pretty much all your groups. Everyone in chat so far, except for like the final two people. No, one person, Pausista. Everyone in chat, except for Pausista, are saying that Eminem and BD are gonna go through. Sonics are not. Which is
I'm not
which is
quite
really
sure
weird
about that.
because, like, let's be real. I think David. I don't know about you. I would place Sonics at the top of this group. I think they are the best team in
Yeah,
this group.
yeah.
And
Realistically, yes. Realistically,
right,
yes,
like
because
because
the m- the mix of experience and quality, I think this team is very balanced.
I don't think people realize how good Gio has been
Yeah,
switching over from TSM. He won a world championship. The only reason he dropped in TSM in form was because he was tired of it. He was not
yeah.
really coming with the TSM guys well enough. With Sonics, he switched over really well. I talked to Grixer, and that interview is going to come out in a couple of days. I talked to Grixer, and he was saying that how lucky they were to get a player of Gio's caliber, because the way that Gio thinks of the game, the way that TSM think of the game, is very similar to how Sonics think of the game. And that lack of lag time that there was in getting Gio up to speed. Gio understood the strategies, the way that Sonics want to defend, the way Sonics want to attack. He understood it immediately, and that has clearly shown, like, you can see the results in the NAL. They are back after such a massive change, after losing their long-time IGL, and Yeti, who is a big, both of them, big influences within the server. They are right back there. And Gunnar, of course, we know his quality. Oh, hello, Odin. Odin Direwolf's coach also in chat. Hello. We're gonna talk about your group last. But yeah, I think I agree with Odin. I agree with Anonymous60. I agree with Beastie and Posista, and I think you do too, David, right? Sonics
Um,
are one of the best teams in this group. They are getting to the playoffs.
Honestly, I have two views of this group. My heart says
Yeah.
that Black Dragons and M&M are going to qualify,
I don't think
but
Eminem. Yeah.
I think that Sonics and Black Dragons are gonna make it.
Yeah.
The only reason why, or the only factor that I think that we should consider for Sonics, is that maybe Gunners in uh,
Lack of
unexperience
experience.
in an
Yeah.
internet, yeah, exactly, might be bad for the team. But I think that they balance that with Geometric's experience.
The thing
Um,
is, also, right, like, David, we talk about, like, international
it-
experience, right? But these guys kind of
yeah,
get that international experience in NAL because XSET exists.
yeah, exactly. They play in
Exactly.
LAN.
So Black
Exactly
Dragons are,
that.
like, gonna be new-ish, but they're
But
kind of gonna
the same
know what's
the
coming.
same happens the same happens with BV. The BV have played in like LAN format as well.
Correct.
Copalix
No,
is
but
what
also,
Copalix
like, just
was
XSET,
also
yeah.
LAN.
Yeah. BD
Yeah,
have
I
good
I
team.
get it.
We cannot
No,
we cannot
I
ignore
think
those guys, yeah.
I think that BV people are um seeing BV the wrong way. Black Dragons is a very capable team.
They
Very
should have been
capable
here in
team.
stage one.
Yeah.
They should have been in Charlotte. I mean, obviously
Yeah.
they wouldn't have been in Charlotte, but at the major.
Yeah.
Online.
There's also something that we should point out is that M&M Gaming are playing 3 games at 0.5%. I know that at this stage is just a meme,
At what, sorry?
but they are playing at 0.5%
Oh!
in the morning.
Yeah, yeah. The more.
Um,
Hey, it might
like
be a real thing, man. Like,
it is
I.
a real thing. I'm not kidding. I talked to Nello. I remember in the interview, and it is a real thing. Like they struggled in the SI qualifiers last year because the games were very early. They struggled in previous majors because the games were kind of early. Like at this point, it's just a meme, but there may be like some truth behind that meme, and I think that there is. Because their first game is going to be against Sonics. That's a very difficult game, and they are going to play at 0.5%. So I think that that game is going to define how well both teams are going to do in this group. So it might be the most important team of the group, most important game of the group stage. But
Yeah,
again, like I
absolutely.
think that
I think
I think that
also, like. Sorry, continue.
I think that Sonics, other than the lack of experience of Gunnar, maybe they struggle in how their opponents are going to play because Cyclops and BD have some different play styles, but I think that Sonics may struggle against their play styles.
Yeah. I I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing, like, every one of these teams are an unknown quantity, which
Mhm.
is gonna make this a very exciting group to just watch on the first day, see how things go on. And Odin's saying, yeah, we have the same issue with early scrims. So yeah, and I think there is some scientific basis to this. I know, like, obviously results wise, you can see but a lot of people might still chalk that up to coincidence or just like whatever, right? But some people genuinely cannot function in the morning. And it's just like they are more of like nocturnal people. There is a lot of debate about sleep, but I think the current science does stand that yes, there are people who work better in the morning, some people who work better late night. And if like Eminem, like apparently Direwolves, are not morning people, that shit is going to affect them. So that is going to be a risk for them. Also, what's going to be a risk, David, I think someone in chat also mentioned earlier on, 1v5s, 1v4, 2v4s, these guys can't hold on to it. And I think CAG Sonics and Black Dragons are going to be more punishing than almost
No,
any team in Europe
you're
when
wrong.
it comes to these.
You're wrong.
Really?
You're
Really?
wrong.
Okay, I
You're
love
saying
to
that
know how I'm right.
wait a second, wait a second. You're saying that Sonics is a very strong team in 2v4s, 1v4 situations, right?
I'm saying
That's what you're
Eminem will
saying.
choke those away because those
Okay,
teams,
fine.
whoever the two are left on
Ah,
CAG Sonics and BD, are going to be
ah.
very strong players. Like they're
Okay,
gonna
okay,
any
okay.
of them,
I
yeah.
thought you were talking otherwise because I was going to bring
No, no,
Black
no, no, no.
Dragons.
No, I was saying like
Nate
exactly.
clutched
That's what I'm saying.
7 rounds last stage.
Exactly.
That's
So
insane. Wait,
Eminem's
am I
I think
confused?
main. No,
Wait a
I don't.
second.
I
Maybe
think you're
maybe
right. I
I'm
remember.
confusing
I remember
players.
you noted that in like our stats game that we played 2 weeks
Yeah,
ago.
but I'm not sure if it was Nate or Handy.
It was Nate.
I mean, yeah, I'm
I'm
pretty
pretty
sure it
sure it
was
was Nate.
Nate, but maybe I'm
But
confusing
anyways, the
with
point
Handy.
is the point I was trying to make was like, yeah, Eminem, they have to fix like by the time Monday rolls around, they have to have fixed that. If not, they are in for
It was handy.
trouble.
It was handy.
They're in for like a shit ton of trouble because this is the fragging meta, right? And we already know what like people like Grixer and Kansan can do on Sonics. We already know what the entirety of Cyclops can do. We already know what the entirety of Black Dragons can do. They're Brazilians. Like I think at that point, right? Like you're like, oh shit, man. We have to be super careful of not letting the foot off the gas. It's just a bad situation for Eminem to go into this major with that problem.
Although what you say is true because like Black Dragons have like Nate, Patoxy, Ion, like Ion, they are very good fraggers. Sonic's has Kanzen, Rexen, this plays Gunner.
And Geo has clutched in the past
and
really
Geo
well.
as well, yeah. And then Cyclops,
Gunner.
Cyclops is a very aggressive.
Cyclops, all 5 of them,
all of them. Yeah, but Eminem, please, we have to talk about Eminem. Their fragging ability is also quite insane.
It is when they're working together as a team.
Yeah.
The thing is, they often don't.
Nelo had a good season. He clutched 5 rounds, man. This stage, Nelo clutched 5 rounds.
I think then his clutch got them to the major, right?
Yeah, he clutched two rounds, one with Ying and another with Mute in the last game on Oregon against BDS. But we also have to talk about Solotov. Solotov got 31 entry kills.
Solotov
31 entry kills.
This is going to be a very spicy group because I think we have no idea really what to expect from all of these players. Like Sonic's big change coming in. Eminem only debuted in SI, then Berlin. Now this is a third international event. BD coming back first time with his team. First time for the org in almost 5 years. Cyclops, usually a joke, but this time, it is looking like they're.
It could happen. It could happen.
Yeah, it could happen because this is a favorable group for them.
Yeah.
Just talking about about Cyclops. It's really weird, David. I don't know if you read the Cyclops interview or whether you saw that part where Fuji3, the coach, was like, we struggled with the switch to the fragging meta in stage 2. That's why they missed out on Berlin, which was like, I was like, what on earth is this?
How can Cyclops?
But apparently they did. They looked at Elevate, they learned from Elevate, and let's be honest, they have looked pretty good with that, lessons from Elevate that they have learned. From what I'm hearing in scrims too, Cyclops are just nightmarish right now. They're not fun to play against because you keep getting like domed. And the biggest thing that they said that they learned, David, is what we've been wanting them to learn for years, is patience. Knowing when to push and waiting for the enemies to push towards them, push into the crossfires and stuff like that. That's something that Cyclops have always been terrible at doing. But if you look at the games in APAC North, in Japan League, they actually have been doing a fair bit of that, which is a sign that they might actually make this group work because they just really need a result or two against Sonic's, Eminem, and BD each. Like I think they get 9 points, they're through, right? Which is just one win each. They'll play 6 games, right? So they win 3 games. I think they're through. This is gonna be like a lot of inexperience everywhere. Cyclops, a lot of the chat is correctly saying like CAG are super chokers, and at least the good side is that they understand that finally. They are saying that they want a sports psychologist, they want an extra analyst, so maybe things will change, maybe they won't. We'll see how they approach this mentally, but I think those are the bigger storylines, and then Black Dragons, of course, I think are the major underdogs. That is really Black Dragons, right?
There's another. Have you talked about the brothers like Handy and Nate?
No, I have not. Yes, please.
Okay,
enlighten us. Yes.
Yeah. So this has prepared an article about this and has to come up. But for those who don't know, Fury Esports player Handy is Black Dragons player Nate brother. So Fourier Sports right now is in 16th place at the global standings. If you, well, in case you don't know, if you are 17th, you have to play the regional qualifiers. So if they keep their 16th place, they are going to be in the Six Invitational 2023. What
Yeah.
happens is that Sonics are below that 16th place. They are in 20 or 19th place. I don't remember now. And if they make it through the group stage, they are going to they are going to overtake Fury Sports. So this is the case here is that Nate could protect his brother and qualify him to the Six Invitational 2023, which is a very exciting storyline. And the thing is, for those who don't know, is that if Sonics finish in third, they are going to have say 720 SI points, the same as Fury Sports. But the tiebreaker says that, well, the first tiebreaker is results between teams during the year. Fury Sports and Sonics have not met this year, so that tiebreaker is ruled out. It doesn't work. The following tiebreaker is points SI points that the team gets in a six major. Fury has more Six Invitational points through six majors than Sonics. So if they finish in third, they will have the same points, but Furia will keep the place and qualify for the Six Invitational if Dire Wolves or Gaming Gladiators or Space Station Gaming or even TSM. No, TSM cannot outperform them, but another team does well. And I think that Sonics is the only one with high chances of doing it. So if Nate keeps Sonics away from the Six Invitational qualify from the bracket, then from the final bracket, Black Fury Sport will probably qualify for SI,
Yeah.
which would be
Ah,
is very exciting.
it is. I don't know whether
Actually, Sandbox has also a good shot, but honestly, considering the group that they are
yeah.
in, like Heroic, Team
No,
Liquid,
no, no. Yeah,
TSM,
we'll talk about that. But yeah,
yeah,
I think like summary of this is like this is the chaos group,
yeah,
arguably
it's chaos group.
speaking, because we don't know enough about all these teams. Cyclops inconsistent as shit. Sonic's big changes looking very promising though. Eminem just inconsistent round to round. Like one round they'll be good, next round will be like garbage. Black Dragons, a lot of great international experience that they've kind of earned in Brazil, but not against non-Brazilian teams. So wide open, and BD I think biggest dark horses in this. It feels a bit weird to call them dark horses, but the only reason you have to call them dark horses, in my opinion, is
Yeah,
because we haven't seen them internationally ever before. Any of their
because of the format in
players.
Brazil.
Yes,
Because of the format in
which
Brazil.
is changing. For sure,
It's
it's gonna change
for
next year.
for
Like,
sure.
there's no way they're gonna keep this. Hey,
No way.
yeah, they even have like Black Dragons. It's in the name. Anyways, Group B, David, you talked about Sandbox, and I think we all can off the bat. I think the one storyline that we can quickly get out of the way is that Sandbox are going to be the whipping boys here.
Uh-huh.
Right? Like I don't know. Like if you're only second in APAC North, yes, you have had time to integrate Fancy. You have had time to integrate Good Boy, and I'm blanking on the last name that they changed.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever like the changes that they made in stage 2, right? Arukaze, that's right.
Arukaze, yeah.
Integrating these teams, yeah, you have had one extra stage to do it, downtime after the Berlin major, but like, damn, dude,
They
you
grabbed
got
some
stuck in a bad group.
experience there.
You
They
got
got some experience.
stuck in a bad group. I think that's like
Yeah.
Sandbox and like um
Yeah.
almost every APAC team except Cyclops story. Obviously there is an argument to be made that Direwolves are going to be okay in Group D, but we'll get to that later. But I think
Wow.
generally the only manageable group for an APAC team would have been Group A, and
Mm-hmm.
Cyclops are in it, which is coincidentally, I think like the best chance when it comes to like playstyle clashes for any APAC team to progress. Actually,
Yeah.
no, Direwolves would have done it, but like Direwolves with like extenuating circumstances. Anyway, Group B, I think Sandbox are going to get smoked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Group B is very, very interesting because we get to see TSM back in the international competition after winning the SI, which they won in Sweden again. So it's back to the country that saw them winning the world championship.
very different
But
TSM though.
anyways, yeah, it's a very different TSM. Exactly, that's what I was gonna say. TSM has two new players, Snake and Gasher. Snake got some experience, international experience, as he was part of that Gamers 8 roster, but he only played the team because a team as a game because the following game he had to be benched because he got COVID. So yeah, he only played one game. And then Gasher is really making his first international appearance. And I would say that this TSM is playing for not nothing because obviously they are here and they can win the 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 the, the whole thing. But I think that TSM is going to focus on getting the experience, trying to qualify to the bracket, the final bracket, get that LAN experience, international, um, and yeah, like get used to the big stages and try to qualify through the regional qualifier and be ready at their 100% for SI. Because I'm not sure if they can qualify through global standings. Maybe they can. No, they can't. So even if they win the major, they are not gonna qualify.
Yeah,
So they just are thinking. I'm sure they are just thinking of the regional qualifier, trying to do like no pressure here. If they do well, good. If they don't do well, well, they are not playing to qualify for SI anyway. So it's just experience, and I'm sure that they are going to try to use the following months to qualify for SI, and then um, finally get back to where they belong because TSM is a huge team, and I think that everyone wants to see them playing at international competitions. It's something very positive for the scene.
agreed. And yeah, I think TSM definitely very exciting to see what they can do.
Yeah.
So long, we have long known that they are like a BO3 team, correct? So
Yeah.
I think that is exciting, but of course they have to run not an easy BO1 gauntlet. And the sucky thing about BO1s is even teams like Sandbox could
Can yeah.
could pull off an upset. And TSM, let's just remember, are 0-3 against Invictus Gaming. Obviously, Invictus Gaming don't exist anymore, but Invictus are a team who have never ever qualified for a playoffs minus the Pro League finals, which is a completely different format as well. So, with that in mind, TSM are not invincible to APAC teams, and I think they will do better against Liquid and Heroic as long as they don't if they don't take Sandbox seriously. But I think Pojo, when I talked to him, he was very aware of that. He understood the threat that even bad APAC teams, like bad in their regional, bad never qualified before, etc., what they pose. So that's going to be exciting. But I think um, what Chad is talking about is the biggest storyline in this group, David. We have a Liquid led by Lagotness, and
Yeah.
this is actually looking really exciting because someone said we are if all of these moving parts. Ask is on fire right now. Palu is
Yeah.
back to his best. Lagones can clutch up almost anything. Resets also has been really good, I think, statistically in Brazil. Nesk has been like the only guy who's not put up massive numbers. But the thing
Well,
is, we always know, sorry, that he can. We
I
always
think that
know he can, right?
yeah, I think that Nesk is not playing at his best because Ask
Is
is
stealing away the
playing at his
kills.
best. Exactly.
Yeah,
Um, Nesk is doing a good job in entries, especially, and he has his moments. Like I think that Team Liquid, the
yeah, he
positive
doesn't
thing
have
of this
bad
roster is that
stats.
when Ask is not performing, if Ask is not performing, that Nesk is gonna perform. So it depends on the map, it depends on the team they are playing, it depends on the operators they are going to pick, it depends on the mindset. So I think that Ask right now is in a better momentum, but we cannot ignore the fact that Nesk is Nesk. Like, he's insane, and that Palu Nesk combination is going to be one of the best duos ever, and it's going
Palu
to stay
Ask
like that
combination right now.
forever.
Right now is Palu Ask
Yeah,
though.
right now is
Yeah.
Palu Ask. Yeah. Regarding Lagonis, I love him. I
Exactly,
love him.
Beastie.
I love him. Like, he's my favorite player ever. Like, my favorite player. He's such a good human being. Like, he's really, really good. I got the chance to interview him as well at this stage. We are talking about his mindset, what makes him a good player, and like his weaknesses. He told me that his play style, his the way he sees the game, not just inside the server but also outside the server, because he has experience as a tennis player and football player, and I think and he thinks that bringing those uh, manners of thinking in sport can also help a team in e-sport. Um, and basically, he told me that Liquid needed a new IGL because Ask was the IGL and he was playing hard breaching functions, and now we can see where Ask players. Um, I think he has played over 25 operators this stage, which is insane. Like, he doesn't main one operator, he mains everyone. Like, you can give him a Ying, you can give him a gridlock, you can give him whatever you want. He's gonna do well. So having this versatility, having this way to read the game, you have Lagonis, you have like Palu and Nesk with the frags. You also have like Ask, who's a very aggressive player, and Lagonis knew that, and that's why when he got the IGL role, the first thing he did was swapping roles. Um, I think that Lagonis was exactly what they needed. I remember interviewing Julio in Berlin, and Julio told me that Liquid lacked a player like Fantasy, which I completely agree.
Yeah.
Um, but by getting Lagonis and
They have
transforming
unlocked Ask.
Ask to exactly
Exactly.
pushing Ask to that aggressive role, that has transformed Liquid. You don't need the Fantasy now. Like, Palu has done an amazing job in entry kills. He got a 14. He got 14 entry kills and just one opening death in Brasileirao. That's insane. Like, Fantasy, we know that he is the entry master. He goes there, he kills two, and then he dies. His survival rating is shit, but his entry numbers are always like incredible. But
It,
Palu,
it,
he has like such a consistency. He's always going to
Palu
perform.
has
It's
50%
insane.
survival, Ask has 40%
Exactly,
survival.
exactly,
The
exactly.
fact that Palu is plus 13 and he lives
Hmm.
half the freaking time,
Yeah, it's
it's
insane.
it's insane.
Yeah,
And like Ask has also
you,
taken 26 entry
yeah,
engagements. He's 13 and 13. Sure, but he lives
yeah.
40% of the time,
You,
which
you
is
usually
wild.
you usually see these numbers in supports. You usually see these numbers
Yes,
in anchors, in players who main hard reachers. You don't see
but
these numbers
these are the kill
in
leaders
yeah,
in
yeah, 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 yeah.
which
That
is
it's insane.
crazy.
Palu's stage has been one of his the best in his career, and one of the
Yeah.
best I remember in Siege. He has been insane. He is in a he. Honestly, I think that I think that Liquid has still to adapt to many things to Lagonis. They have been together for just 2 months. I don't think they are gonna win this major, but I think that they are one of the favorites to win the SI 2023, which I hate to admit because Mexico Major, before Ask and Reset even joined the squad, we thought that Liquid were maybe gonna win that major. Liquid are always one of the favorites and they never win, which makes me mad because it makes me angry because I want them to win an international trophy. Like, they deserve it so bad, but it never comes. Um, I think that
No,
with
but
Lagoni's
just look at
experience,
these numbers, man. Like
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah. They are insane. They are insane. And Lagonis was telling me this. Like, for those who don't know, Lagonis is he is an insane Team Liquid fan. Um, he's like we are used to football players signing for a team. For example, for those who don't who know him, Alvaro Morata. Spanish striker. Every time he signs for a team, he says it was a dream for me to play for this team. He signs for Chelsea. He signed for Real Madrid, a dream. He signed for Atletico Madrid, the Real
He
Madrid's
dreams a lot.
rivals, and they say he says, oh, it's the team of my childhood. Anyways, Lagonis, when he signed for Team Liquid, well, he told me like when he was 18, when he started playing Siege, his dream was signing for Liquid, and now he's there. There are videos of him debuting in Team One and sending Zeke a message. Well, the streamer.
Yeah, Ziguera, yeah.
Yeah, Zeke, yes. Um, Sending him messages, a video when he was playing for Team One.
Liquid are scary. Liquid are scary, and
Liquid are very, very scary. The synergy is
I think it's
there,
good. I
and
think the best part of it, Davi, sorry, just to cut you off. I think like the best part of it is that they're not relying on Nesk anymore, and they're getting these
no,
results,
exactly,
which
exactly.
is what has always stopped them in the past. Every
Mhm,
single tournament that any Nesk team has lost, pull it back to BRK, pull it back to Black
mhm,
Dragons, pull it back to any Nesk team that has lost with Nesk on board when he was fragging is because they relied so much, and like he can be shut down.
mhm.
Any R6 player in the world can be shut down. But the thing is, the opposite teams will now have a problem. Do they shut down Nesk? Do they shut
Yeah.
down Palu? Do they shut down Ask? Who the hell do you shut down? And then
It's
even if you shut the three of them down, you're probably going to be in like a 2v2, 2v3, right?
mhm,
You still have
yeah.
Lagonis and resets you probably have to deal with.
La Lagonius is a club. He knows how to deal with pressure, and he knows
Precisely.
like how to play important rounds. We cannot forget
It's very scary.
Team One when they won the Mexico Major against Team Empire. It was in
Yeah.
on Bill Kitchen's like Billa's kitchen side. They were like 6-1 up against Empire. They just needed a round, but it was Lagonis clutching that round that gave Team One the Mexico Major trophy.
It's like
I
I
also
think sorry, just to finish on my point. Sorry, I keep cutting you
yeah,
off.
true, yeah,
You shut down Palu or Nesk, that will unlock Palu or Ask, that will unlock Nesk. That's gonna
yeah.
happen. You watch.
hmm Sorry, I get so excited with this
Yeah,
team.
no. Well, I think we should.
Really
I think we
I
should
really
move
like it.
on. We've talked a lot
Yeah,
about Liquid, and I think we've made our points.
yeah.
Um, the next one I think that we have to
Um,
close off. The last one I think that we have to talk about is his heroic over
heroic.
here. Um, okay, this one is a really hard one, I think, to judge because
I'm
they're coming in as two rookies who
yeah.
are super inexperienced. They have struggled in the EUL. I think they are like not gonna really make it into the playoffs. I think this is like a liquid TSM group. But I
I
don't know,
agree.
David, do you have a case in favor of heroic strats are good, but like do you have a case in favor of heroic?
Um, Honestly, I think I agree with you. I think that this group is going to be a liquid TSM. Um, I was talking to Mr. Officer the other day,
Mm-hmm.
and the interview is up, and everyone can enjoy it. Mr. Officer is such a good guy, and I agree with what the way he thinks. I think that he's a good coach. Um, I think that this team needs some experience, and they are gonna get that this month playing JONKOPING. Um, this team is very like just like Sonics, they have room for improvement. I don't think they are there yet, but Benja Master is Europe's future and present. They have the experience of Uno.
Yeah.
Jume is also really, really good. Melo, like Grizzly as well, very experienced player as of now. Like I think that this team is very good and very interesting, but I don't think they are there yet. Um, they are playing with no pressure. They need somewhat good results to just qualify for SI 2023, but I think that they are almost there. I honestly think that this is going to be a liquid TSM heroic sandbox group. Um, I just think that heroic are very good, but they just need the because Mr. Officer said it in the interview. This team falls falls under pressure all the time.
Yeah, there's gonna be so much pressure against TSM Liquid,
Yeah.
and then like Sandbox are not going to be an easy team. They have more international experience than Heroic at this point, actually.
Yeah.
Other than Uno.
If they know how to deal with pressure and nerves, maybe they have a shot at making the final bracket.
Yeah,
Depends on how TSM adapts to having two new players in the international scene.
they also
Depends
need a
on
better execution, just of like their
yeah.
strategies as a whole. I think like Shas noted in like his co-streams at one point that like Heroic were doing the right things and they were still losing rounds. Just serious Barbatos. I think just the fact that the logic for putting Heroic above Sandbox would just be the fact that Heroic play against arguably tougher opposition in Europe, because we don't have much to go by for both these teams other than Sandbox's Berlin Major, which was extremely disappointing. Now, obviously, yes, they have more experience, they're gonna work up towards things and they're gonna have improved, but Heroic also have like that double rookie change, but they still made it here amidst like they beat Rogue to come here. They smashed Rogue 7-1 on the final day. It was nuts, and they said they barely prepared for it. That's the kind of fear that Heroic can bring. They just need to fire, as David said. They get the mental game in order, which is what they did for their Rogue game, as Mr. Officer said. And then after that, it could be a problem for even TSM, even for Liquid. So it just feels like Sandbox are not quite there yet to challenge like for wins against TSM Liquid.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
my
I completely
opinion,
agree.
and I think
Yeah.
David, yeah, based on what you said, that's the same thing. I think that's pretty much Group B, right? Like Group B is it looks like a fairly open and shut group. I think we can all say that's like Sandbox and Heroic are probably not making it. TSM Liquid are. Group C though, I think I'm very very confused on how on earth to call this group, because you have W7M, the only one of only two teams to make it to all three majors this year.
Mm-hmm.
They upgraded, arguably, David, with Julio. They
Yeah.
won the Copa Elite Six finally after two previous failed attempts. It is absolutely terrifying to think that W7M are better than what they were in Brazil, and they were not in Brazil, in Berlin, and they were very good in Brazil, semi-finalists there. Then
Yeah.
sorry,
Sorry.
I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna quickly run through BDS, Liquefact upgrade. Shaiko's obviously still the hardcore player that he was. The whole of BDS look better with Liquefact on board. Space Station Gaming, with that Yeti, they said they killed 3 birds with 1 stone. They untangled their roles. They got Yeti in a system that thinks the exact same way that Space Station thinks, and Yeti is very experienced. He has been to international lands as well. This is and the three players plus 1 coach and 2 analysts are world champions on Space Station. And then you have Fury, Dark Horses, who play Psycho because they're from APAC. But they're Thai as well, so like you can never count them out. As Beastie said in chat, losing any points to Fury will be a death sentence. So Davi, this group, I think the storyline of this group is, I think, a bigger storyline in that this is the group of death.
This is definitely the group of death. I want to quickly mention. You are talking about TSM being best of 3 team.
Yeah.
W7M is the best of 1 team.
Yes.
W7M have been insane. Last year we had something similar, not the same case for sure, but something similar with Fury Esports. They were struggling to avoid relegations. They avoided it. They qualified for SI 2023, and since then they have been in every international competition until now, as they didn't qualify for the JONKOPING Major. But
David, I think
W7M
cutting
last
out.
year they were a boy. They
Sorry,
were in the what?
sorry. I think cutting out. I don't know if chat is reporting the same thing. I think you're cutting out for me. Um, let me. It might be my Bluetooth headset, or it might be the
It
connection.
might
I'm
be
not
me.
too sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because it's happened before. But try again. Sorry, you were saying how
Yeah.
W7M are a
I was.
BO1 team.
Yeah, they are a very like they are the best of one team. I was talking about Fury Sports case last year. They went from playing relegations to uh, playing 6, 7 international competitions in a row. W7M are something similar. Last year they were in a fight for avoiding relegations with Santos, and now they are dominating Brazil. They are a best of one team. They got like 65 points overall, like only 5 losses. 17 points more than Team Liquid, who finished in second with 47. They have a round difference of 74, 50 rounds more than the second team with the most round difference, like with the best round difference, Fury Sports with 24. So yeah, blatant dominance from the balls in 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 Brazil. But I think that, as you said before, with the addition of Julio, they have improved. It was full of controversy. Like they decided to part ways with GDN, which back then he was one, if not the best support in Brazil. Um, and they decided to drop him just 2 or 3 days before the conclusion of the transfer window. And they got Julio back then Fury Sports coach. And I think that his experience and the way he sees the game have improved this team for in best of 3 series. So we might see a very very strong team in best of one format and in a best of 3 format as well. In Berlin, they defeated Wolves, who finished in first place in Europe, and Oxygen, who finished in first in in NA. And they actually demolished them. They only lost one game, and it was a maximum overtime defeat against Wolves. Um, and in Charlotte from Mexico, they were the only team to defeat the eventual champions Dark Zero, and it was in a 8-6 victory in the group stage. So I think that W7M, after 3 events, we can say that these are one of the, for me, are the two favorites to win in JONKOPING.
Just two favorites?
I think that the clear favorites for me are W7M and FaZe Clan,
Yeah,
and then BDS and Liquid.
BDS, I'll see it when I believe it, but Liquid, I was gonna
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Liquid
We will
have to be
see.
in the mix too.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, right, yeah. W7M, I think we've said, Julio is support, right, David? He's had
yeah,
support for Julio.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, I think we've said all that we could possibly say about W7M. They are. Someone said. I think Hastik said in chat. Whoever wins this group wins the event. I think that is a fair shout. I think if you are a team that can beat W7M to top of Group C, you are probably one hell of a team, right? You have hit form at the right moment, and if you are W7M topping the group, then as David said, you are one of the 2-3 favorites to win the entire thing. I think BDS also really need to be talked about, and obviously we have been talking about this the whole stage. I think everyone is sick and tired about this talking point, but it is the talking point, right, David? For BDS,
hmm
it's Liquefact. Like this guy has like come out of 3-2-1 sked, and
yeah,
he is absolutely he's overshadowing Shaiko, David,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
a
He's,
statement
he's yeah,
is insane. It is the most crazy statement I've heard in years. It's like it's not like Shaiko has dropped off. He has changed roles. It's not
no,
like the Nesk situation. Like Shaiko is genuinely doing really well. Liquefact is doing even better. it is
Mhm.
wild stuff right now.
It is very wild. I was talking to you about this yesterday.
Yeah,
Um, if you look at the CGG ratings of the European League, since the European League was created, like when we changed it from Pro League to European League, in the first stage of European League 2020, Bride got a better rating than Shaiko. He got a 1.20 something, and Shaiko got a 1.06, I believe. That was the last time Shaiko got outperformed by someone from his team in European League. Since then, Shaiko has always stayed on top of the standings for BDS until this stage where Likefak, in his debut stage, sorry, he finished at the top of the standings in BDS and one of the best 2 or 3 players in Europe. The second joined by Bibo in first place with 1.21. Um, it's insane. He has
yeah.
the best KD in in Europe stage 3. Um, Probably one of the best KOSTs as well. Um, Let me check. Well,
I
69% KST, one of the
He
best. Yeah.
is, he is, yeah, he's up there, man. Like, I think we need to
Yeah,
show
he
these
has
stats.
won.
I'm gonna pull the stats up just so
Yeah,
everyone can see like what these like. He is
yeah.
he is wilding
He
right
got
now. It is
106 kills, the best in Europe. Like, yeah, it's really really something else. Honestly, something else.
yeah, and then you have Brede also. Back to his arguable
Mhm.
best, most plants, second highest KOST in EUL. We have seen Liquefact just unlock these guys right now. This KD is obscene, man. It is obscene. He's taken 34 entry engagements, not super successful, mind you, because it's only a +2. But I think you cannot argue with that KPR figure. I think if you sort by KPR, he's number one. Yeah, there we go. He's number one, highest on KPR. Just Liquefact is the man. Um, David, I think I recall throughout the EUL, the way to beat BDS is to keep Liquefact quiet, which was
Sorry.
basically like the way that you beat BDS right now is to keep Liquefact quiet. Correct?
Yeah.
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 It's not impossible. It is definitely not an impossible task. And BDS are gonna have to fight that. They're gonna have to have the rest of their players at the absolute best so that Liquefact isn't easily shut down. Or if he is shut down, they can pull up the slack. Because Liquefact is not invincible.
Hmm. Yeah, I completely
Space
agree.
Station. I think next one, obviously the big storyline for them is long time coming. They were ninth last stage, but if you look at the interview that I released, I think yesterday or day before with Space Station, is that they were having serious troubles. Now I don't know who was at blame or if anyone was at blame, whether it was like the team, whether it was Skies, but the point is that there was like a lot of friction between those two groups. Whoever started it, whoever was the cause, doesn't matter. Friction was there. SSG were ninth, but at the same time, I think ninth place, David, I think, was only 5 points or 4 points away from first place. Still last stage.
Yeah.
So they were ninth. Looks bad on the paper. You look at it a little bit closer, you're like, okay, whatever. It's
Mm.
it's not that bad.
What?
They upgrade with
Oof.
Yeti. Sorry, they killed 3 birds with
Yeah.
one stone. Now they are back at the international stage and looking good.
Yeah. Yeah. What I love about this team is Yeti. Um, Stage 2. He gets an entry record of 4 entry kills and 17 opening deaths, which is horrible. Um, a rating of 0.86. He changes teams. He goes to SSG, and he has one of the best stages he has ever
Third
had, if not
best,
the best, probably the best,
third best
with
rating.
an entry rating of, well, an entry register of 18 opening kills, 5 opening deaths. the best, just behind Forrest from Astralis. We're talking of a league that is the NA, where like the best players is from France. Okay, so that really talks a lot about the Mickey
Hey,
Mouse competition that we have there. I'm just joking.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I am very excited for SSG because I really like this Yeti version in SSG, and I think that they can put some spice in this group. I think it's a group of death, no doubt. I think that BDS and W7M are going to qualify. But still, I think that
I think
what's
there's a
going to do,
chance SSG upset
there's a
BTS.
chance.
I think
Yes, there's a
BDS are
chance.
definitely at risk of being
Yeah.
upset
hmm
by SSG.
But
Sorry.
I think that what's going to decide who goes first and who's going second in BDS and W7M is their games against SSG. Because I think that can, like, losing, like going to overtime against SSG, or losing
Losing, I think,
against
to them
SSG
is going to be big
can
problem.
actually
Yeah.
decide, can actually decide who's going first and who's going second, which can make the difference between playing a face clan or playing a weaker side from Group A, for example. I don't
Cyclops or
know.
something. Yeah.
So yeah, seeding is always very important, and being your best version against SSG is going to be very, very important as well. But obviously, I
Interesting.
think that SSG are going to, like, they are going to put a fight to any player, any team in this group. But yeah, I still think that BDS and WSNM are the main favorites in the group of that.
Yeah. Now, of course, the final team that we want to be talking about here, and very interesting that Beastie in chat, he's saying that SSG are the team that they see most likely dropping points to Fury. I'm gonna hit you with a counterpoint right now. Fury are gonna drop points everywhere. Fury are not very good. I know they are here, which is like, oh, they're automatically one of the best teams in APAC South. Sure, but like I'm gonna say, like, you really only have to look at 2 games, I think, this stage, that while they're better than everyone else across 6 games, 6 BO1s. They only played 6 BO1s. Let me remind you, in Apex South this stage, 2 of those BO1s, it was a 7-5 loss to Gaming Gladiators, and then they were forced to maximum OT in the final playday by Tide. Tide, a team that was put together like 2 weeks or 1 week before the stage started. Tide, a team at that point, had 0 points on the final play day. Fury nearly lost to them and almost didn't make it here. If you look at the Operation League, I know people are gonna say T2 leagues are not really good indicators, but they are good indicators in APAC because they are the only other time that you can see this team, and teams are trying in the Operation League. And Fury in the Operation League T have dropped like 2v4s and 2v5s all the time. You think Eminem dropping these situations, these man count advantages is bad? You got to look at the way Fury did it, and Lycolis knows that this is a problem. He admitted it himself when he talked to me, that they are not good enough at holding on to man count advantages. What happens when you are in that situation against freaking W7M, BDS, Space Station? I'm gonna say, if we're gonna see a 7-0 in this tournament, the first one is gonna come against
Yeah,
Fury. This
yeah,
is where
I completely.
is the highest likelihood of the first 7-0, and maybe even the most 7-0s. Because Fury are here to only gain experience. They played 6 BO1s, guys. 6. That's almost half as what NAL and EUL plays.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
BR6, for that matter. BR6,
yeah,
less than half, because BR6 plays Copa
yeah.
Elite 6 after that. Fury are gonna get smoked. If you think Sandbox, is gonna be bad, this is gonna be on like Pornhub or something.
Yeah, they are orange, so.
Hey,
Well, yeah,
this is not
they are
gonna be
going
a
to
good experience.
they are going
The
to
only saving grace,
fuck you.
the only saving grace is that they have Napew and BG Man, who played on Elevate, and Napew, who played at SI with Elevate. But you gotta remember, Napew at SI did not really play well. SI for Elevate was mostly an onigiri performance situation. Napier kind of struggled there in the games that were like on par opponents. Fury, the rest of the structure, the setup isn't as good as Elevate's was. Napier is going to get found out. He's really good. He's not unstoppable, as we have seen in Elevate, and as I'm telling you, we're going to see come Monday.
Yep.
I think that's really it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We have to talk about for like Group C. Fury. Oh god, I really hope they do well because they're from Southeast Asia. I don't think they're gonna do well. Odin, I don't know if you're there still, but we're gonna talk about your team now, because we're moving on to Group D. And D for Direwolves, I think. Let's start with them, right? Might as well. There he is. There he is. Look, I saw this group for Direwolves, and I looked at it, and I'm like, this is a good group for Direwolves. Then, Edie on that final, then I remember Edie on the final playday said he has the military issues. I think what Direwolves' performance is going to be defined by is how well they can mitigate the hits that they're going to take when they didn't have, I think, Reaps for, Odin, correct me if I'm wrong, 2 weeks almost, right? You guys didn't have Reaps to practice with for 2 weeks. You are not going to have Edie to practice with all the way up until the major or like a couple of days before the major, which is like, I don't know, Saturday. Obviously you have the information. I know it's always changing, so I'm being vague purposely. But the way that they're going to fight off this lack of practice is going to define how Group D goes. Not just their own performance, but also Group D. Because if Direwolves are at 100% full strength, David, I think you and I can agree that they have had a really good chance of making it to playoffs. They're not. Reaps is one hell of a player. I think he is one of the best players. As far as like his comparison goes to his regional rivals, compared to like Reaps versus the other APAC South players or rather the other APAC players as a whole, he is really good. He's almost as good as Palu was compared to the rest of the BR6 field. We don't know how Reaps is going to match up. That's number 2. And with like 2 weeks less practice, all those factors they're going to be coming in. Direwolves are an unknown quantity now. I think from what I was previously have said, minus the issues from potential playoff challenges. Right now, they had to like prove on the first day. Their performance on the first day are going to prove whether they have it or not. They have what it takes to make it to the playoffs, and this is not a quality issue. Let me just remind you, this is not a question about quality. It's a question about practice. I think, David, I don't know what your thoughts are about this, but like losing your IGL and your top fragger at different times, yes, but for 2 weeks each. Bad situation.
It's bad for preparation. It's really bad for preparation, like for Direwolves and to any team in the competition. Possibly one of the most important times or the most important moment in a competition. It's not during the competition, but the weeks before the competition takes place. And if you have to practice without a piece of your roster, then that preparation is not going to be as good as it should be, and you're going to be less prepared, regardless of the opponent you're playing against. And Direwolves are playing against FaZe Clan, who have one of the best map pools in Siege. Then Wolves Esports, one of the most consistent teams in best of one games, and Mirage, who are like debutants, but still they are a very good roster. Well, we'll talk about it later. But still, I think that they are not in the best situation.
Yeah, it sucks. Because I honestly think they're the second best team, or actually even the best team at full strength in all of APAC that's at this event. It is really rotten luck, and being Singaporean and having seen IG struggle through this, look, it's not new to me. It's unfortunately not new. I mean, Mirage is like another thing, and we're gonna talk about them, of course. But like, Yeah. The only thing I'm gonna say in Dial's defense is that like IG still, as I said earlier on, IG has beaten TSM every time they've played. IG not really as good of a team in my opinion as Direwolves have ever been. Especially Direwolves are. I think Direwolves right now are stronger than any version of IG. This is not counting Airwolf, of course, where Airwolf made it to the semifinals. But right now, I think Direwolf is stronger than the IG team has ever been, and IG still beat TSM 3 times. They have 3-0 record. I don't recall whether there's a map record or game record. Which means that Direwolves, even with little practice, if they have the fundamentals right, and oftentimes, David, I think this stage, you and I have remarked like fundamentals of some teams are just really weak. If Direwolves keep the fundamentals tight, they will very much be in the fight still. But again, fundamentals can get affected by lack of practice. The other team,
Yeah, exactly.
that is very Wolfpacky, Wolves Esports. And we talked about Liquefact being really, really, really good. I think we gotta talk about like the Wolves players also, because like Bibu has been absolutely insane. He has been one of the best players alongside Shinka.
Yeah. Not only from this stage, but the season in
Mm.
general. It has been very good. Like he has been in the scene for years now, 5 years since he played on Xbox, and I think this may be one of his best moments in his career. Um, his momentum has been insane. My opinion of Wolves is that they have a very good squad. They are learning together. They have been playing well in every competition. They have played in Charlotte, they played in Berlin, they are going to play in Jönköping. But still, I don't see them quite ready to be like favorites to win the major, especially if
I
they
think
have
they
to
are
win.
gonna make it
They
the
have
playoffs though,
yeah,
right?
sure. Like I think
Yeah.
they are going to finish second just behind FaZe Clan. But I think that they are not going to progress further than quarterfinals. I think they are going to. I think that they have a very good idea of Siege. I think that if they, I still remember talking to Jess before the Berlin Major, and I think that she's completely right. Like when they follow the steps and they complete the steps, they are a very solid team and one of the best in Siege. But I just don't see them ready for a best of three series. In Berlin, they lost to Exet. Exet upset them on Chalet, but Wolves didn't expect that game, that map to be played, and Exet won because of that. I think that Wolves still has to improve a little bit in order to be in the top, where I think this like they should be because in Europe they have been really consistent. Um, First team to finish in first place back to back in stages. So I think that they have what it takes to be at the top, but I just don't think they are ready to win a major yet.
Yeah. Although we have to give credit, like they are making progress. I know BC,
Yeah,
uh,
exactly. They are making
BC saying
progress.
like I think the progress is undeniable, but I think David
And
is also right. Like it's not enough just yet. I think SI will maybe if they keep up the cadence of the progress, it's going to be good. Because Wolves look better than BDS. I think there is definitely an argument for that. Like Wolves look, BDS looked extremely shaky, like in the games against outsiders. I think even TT9 pushed BDS to round 12. Correct me if I'm wrong. Um, right? Like TTS, TT9, yeah. So yeah, BDS obviously have weaknesses. Wolves also have weaknesses. I think they are about the same quality right now. I honestly think, right, David? Like Bibu is performing well, Shinka's performing
yeah,
well, Liquefact performing well, Shaiko's performing well. The same situation, I think. And BC, I think, yeah, we are definitely in agreement, all three of us, and Pausista and a bunch of other people in chat, I'm sure as well. They are a quarterfinal team for sure. They are on the right path. They are upgrading, but we have to withhold judgment because right now they haven't been that good domestically to say that yes, they're going to burn through the quarterfinals. They're gonna make a title challenge. They have the capabilities to win a title just yet. But the fact that they're there does technically mean that they have the ability to. It's just that they kind of have to prove it. As BC said, we need to see them play well. If that first quarterfinal they absolutely like demolish whoever the hell they face, whoever it is, right? Even if it's like Fury, for all you know, even if they do that, I think that would be like a sign that yes, Wolves are coming in for the title. But I think before we move on, because we have obviously the big elephant in the room, we're gonna let that like come on, like stay there. I want to talk about Mirage before we kind of go over to them. I think Mirage are super exciting. I don't know. I am excited by the fact that Mirage are here.
You are excited for the team from
I'm just
North America,
excited.
Mickey Mouse League.
Hey, yes, I am, because the drama that followed them throughout 2022 was top tier. And I even asked Christian, their coach, about it. And the beautiful thing is, I think, and I just want to quickly give credit to Christian, is that a lot of people, if they're like Cristiano Ronaldo, they'll think that it's like offensive. They think it's like a personal offense. No, it's the facts. And Christian took it very well, and he acknowledged that it was a fact, and he answered the questions I had. And you can go look at the interview. I believe it's up. So Mirage, this is the first time here at this level for any of them, right, David? I think only Nix and Christian have been, and that's only as support players.
Dexter played the Gamers
8. Yes, right. That's right. With SSG. Sorry, Nix has played for Rec and like DZ at international events, of course. Like Tokonami Grand Finalist, of course, was Nix as a player, and Christian, of course. Guerra has been the analyst for DZ in the past, I believe, and he's been with them to international events too. They were third in NAL in 2021. Never reached that height after Hot and Cold left. That really hit them hard. They say also the lack of experience hit them hard. Maybe I think the Hot and Cold factor is bigger, and Guerra, to his credit, did acknowledge that Hot and Cold was a big thing, but obviously we don't know the internals of the team. Mirage today, I think the comeback story is the most exciting thing ever. I think this is one of the biggest comebacks in Rainbow Six Siege, David, and I really need. I want your opinion on this. We saw like last stage NIPG to make the comebacks from like their positions in EUR and BR6. We have seen like wild ass comebacks, like I don't know, Team 1 in like the Mexico Major, almost out to winning the Major. So many comebacks. Penta, EG. Obviously, those are individual games, but I think Mirage's come back from 10th and 10th to Major, David. I think that is one of the biggest comebacks. Like, chat, feel free to chime in on this. In my opinion, and I might be falling prey to recency bias, but this looks like one of the biggest comebacks in Rainbow Six history to me.
Yeah,
the transformation.
It is like, especially in like the time they actually went from the last two to one of the top 4 teams in NA. That's very impressive. Do I think if they have what it takes to qualify to the final bracket? I don't think so, especially with the group stage that they have been put in. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good experience for them, and they are going to get ready for the regional qualifiers. They are going to play against TSM and other teams that are very capable of doing big things.
Yeah. And BC is obviously, you're right. W7M is the other team who kind of did it, but I'm just gonna say that W7M had like the entire off season to do it, whereas like Mirage had to do it within the season, in the middle of the season, between stages. A lot less time for them to work with, and also the fact that I think David, I'm gonna admit it, Guerra, if you're watching. I laughed at their changes. I laughed that they're dropping they're dropping Marmalade. I laughed when they brought on Nyx. I laughed at a lot of the things, and I was not alone in that. If you go look at our tweet when we posted the article on when Mirage dropped Marmalade, everyone was saying, "L, can Mirage be dropped from the NAL Mirage are never gonna change, or like it was just very disparaging stuff. You can go on Reddit, you can look at the Marmalade thing as well. People obviously rate Marmalade highly. I think that is a fair assessment. But where I said, like, look, I want to stick with Melted at the mid stage. I think the decision was between Melted and Marmalade. They stuck with Melted, and Melted was the best player for Mirage in the NAL this stage. Like, you can say maybe long term team harmony wise it's a bad decision. I think for stage 3 you cannot argue against what Melton has brought to the table. He has driven these guys to the major. He's the 11th best rated player in the NAL. Benjamin Dollar Sign, is the 13th best rated player. Okay, I think this is vindication at the very least. And I'm egg on my face. I admit it. I did not expect Mirage to do this, but the fact that they've done this is it's insane. Unfortunately, as you said, David. Unfortunately, as you said, David, they're in a crazy group, and the craziest people in this group, David, our Berlin Major grand finalists, might as well have won the whole thing. That's how close it was. 3-8-7s in that best of 5 grand final. The most percentage of rounds played ever in any grand final in Rainbow Six. The team that was on the losing side, FaZe Clan.
Yeah, FaZe Clan is, as I said before, for me is one of the favorites alongside L7M Sports. Because their map pool is really big. They know how to play lots of these maps. Cyber, they have Cyber, they have Bullet, they have Souls, they have Cameraman. They have all of this experience that it's just insane how this team plays sometimes. We also can ignore the fact that they won the last time they won the last Sweden Major exactly a year ago. They finished in third place of the Six Invitational 2022. So it looks like playing in Sweden makes FaZe Clan even stronger. But yeah, I think that FaZe Clan's year has not been the greatest. They struggled in Copa Elite 6 in best of 3 format, which I was talking to Lagonis, and FaZe Clan are going to improve the maps they lost, and that's it. Which is actually, I don't know, makes it like feel like FaZe Clan can even become stronger going to this competition. But still, I think that they are one of the favorites, and yeah, like especially against Direwolves and Mirage, they should be considered favorites to go to the final bracket alongside Wolves Esports. Who's going to come first? I don't really know, but I think that FaZe Clan is going to be at the top of the standings first, and then Wolves in second place.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable assessment. Just like, how do you argue against that, man? Like, how on
No,
earth do you argue against
can't.
that? FaZe Clan, their form in the entire year has been so good. Some luck goes their way. I don't know, the wind condition changes. It becomes too cold or too hot on the side of Rogue stage, and FaZe Clan win the major. It might as well have been that close of a margin. It almost feels like, I know it's not true, but it almost feels like FaZe didn't really lose that major. Like, Rogue just edged it, man. FaZe hardly did anything wrong. They made a couple of mistakes here and there. Even if you look at, like, forced errors / unforced errors, I don't think FaZe made many errors at all, especially not unforced errors in that series. The fact that they're here and Rogue aren't instantly puts FaZe as the favorites to win this major. The consistency has been wild, and it is remarkable that they have been able to keep this up. It actually reminds me of Liquid when they were like placing second, or like consistently, like they placed second at SI and then second at the major as well, I think. And then they made changes, and like they started the process all over again because they thought, like, okay, that's enough. I fear for FaZe if they don't win this, I really do. I think that is my biggest fear because FaZe have looked so good that they might overthink this when it comes to any potential losses any potential of not winning this major. I'm very afraid they're going to overthink this. But yeah, spoiled main character bonus won't be here for them because this is a Swedish major without the Swedish player. David, I think that's it, right? Anything else that has stood out for you?
No.
All right,
Not at all.
let's quickly recap what we think is going to happen in the groups as well. Can I draw on? No, I can't draw on OBS, but whatever. We'll just keep it in your mind, I guess. So Group A,
Yeah.
what are your 1, 2, 3, 4?
My 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, my 1 is Black Dragons. My
One.
2, yeah. My 2 is Sonics. My 3 is M&M, and my 4th is Cyclops. But I really hope that it's BD and M&M, but I'm going to keep it like that. BD, Sonics, M&M, Cyclops.
So I'm just to be a little bit different because otherwise it's like boring, right? I think Cyclops might crack it. I honestly think they might crack it.
Yeah, could happen.
I think Black Gray hasn't we didn't mention this earlier, but Black Gray has never looked better. I think Sonics are going to be first, no matter what. No matter what, Sonics are going to be first in here. They have just too much experience and know-how and firepower combined to not be first. I think Cyclops are going to be in a bitter battle with Black Dragons. I think they're going to edge it by a hair. Because, like, we've always known that Cyclops are the fragger team. They gave Team 1 the hardest time at the Mexico Major, and then Team 1 eventually won it. You can ask Alamar that he still thinks that Cyclops were the hardest team they faced. I think Black Dragons are going to face a similar issue against SiegeGG that Team 1 did, except this time is going to be stacked further against them because this is a meta that plays to Cyclops' strengths. Last time it was a utility meta. This time it's a fragging meta. I know Black Dragons are superb fraggers. Cyclops has just been at this level a little bit longer. They will edge it. Will be extremely, extremely close. And then I think M&M, by I think elimination, are going to be last in this group. That's my 1, 2, 3, 4. Sonic, Cyclops, BD, M&M. What about Group B, David?
B, Liquid, TSM, Heroic, and Sandbox. Easy as that.
I think we went in this earlier as well. I agree.
Yeah.
Liquid looking too good. TSM with changes. Number 2 probably. Heroic and Sandbox are a little too sloppy to beat TSM or Team Liquid to the top 2 places. Like they'll get points, I think, here and there. They're gonna get wins probably as well. I don't think they're gonna get to the playoffs. They're just not at TSM and Team Liquid's level, in my opinion, just yet. Obviously, we might well be proven wrong. Group C.
W7M, BDS, SSG, Fury.
I like that. I really want to say the same thing. I think Fury, automatic number 4. I really do, but I'm going to swap around BDS and SSG. Solely for the fact that how smooth Space Station has looked and how weak BDS have sometimes looked against like teams who are not at their level. Like BDS, as I said earlier on, those wins against TTA9 and Outsiders, not good enough to match up against a team like SSG. I think SSG are only getting better. This break has just made them better. They've had the longest break of any of these 4 teams in this group because they're from NA. They're already looking so good with Yeti, not Mr. Beat. Yeti, the support player, is their best player. So yeah, I think it's going to be W7M, then SSG, then BDS. I think it'll be close between SSG and BDS. And then Fury are going to be distant 4th. And yeah, Group D, finally.
Very I hate it because I'm saying just the obvious thing, but Face Clan Wolves, Dire Wolves. No, wait, Face Clan Wolves. Yeah, Face Clan Wolves, Dire Wolves, and Mirage. Just to spice it a little bit. Maybe
I
Mirage should
think,
be the third, but I'm going for
yeah,
it.
no. I think I'm again. Yeah, as you said, just spice things up a little bit. I said, there's a couple of big ifs surrounding Dial's performance that we have to look at. I think there is a chance that they still make it happen. It's going to be close between Wolves and Direwolves. I know I said earlier on that Wolves are definitely a playoffs caliber team. I think Direwolves at full strength are also a playoffs caliber team at this point. Um, they said in Charlotte they were surprised at like what Brazilian teams do. The thing is, everyone is going to lose to this Brazilian team in this group. So them losing to FaZe Clan in Group D is this just the same as everybody else. I think their matches against Mirage and Wolves are going to be deciding factor, and I think Direwolves can see themselves through because one thing that I want to point out, and that Odin pointed out in his interview with me as well, which didn't actually make it into the article, but that Direwolves have had Reaps get shut down. They have had the other player step up instantly. Like, it's seamless. You didn't even notice the impact of Reaps not being there. I know it's only 6 games. I know it's only Apex South, but if they overcome the whole out of practice issues, Direwolves can be number 2. So my prediction would be FaZe, Direwolves, Wolves, very close again, and then Mirage. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, we had a question earlier on. I don't think we've answered, so we're going to answer it now. David, who are your most underrated and overrated players at this major?
Underrated players and overrated
Yes.
players. Underrated players. I think that Nelo is a big underrated player. If we look at Group A, I also think that uh, Patoxy is an underrated player. That's just from Group A. From Group B, I would say, well, I think that he's not underrated, but I think that the community underrates him a lot. But then people who knows about the game doesn't underrate him. Geometrics.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Um, other team, like other players, maybe. Well, Geometry is still part of Group A. Group B, I would say resets. Um, he doesn't get the kills, and he sometimes gets some hard criticism, but I think that he fulfills his function very well. Um, from mm, mm, I would also say um, um, yeah, I will just leave it like that for underrated players and maybe overrated players. Um, hmm, I
That's a
really
tough one.
don't have. Yeah, that's a tough one. I really don't have one right now. Maybe no. Well, nah, I would. I really have no one.
All right.
Overrated is kind of difficult, honestly. I'm not gonna say Nesk. I'm not gonna say Nesk.
Yeah, because then the
Um,
Brazilian fans will be after you.
yeah, yeah, and I really respect Next.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
No.
just
Okay.
yeah, it's difficult.
Well, let's go for it. I'm gonna try this. I think underrated. I know it's gonna sound unhinged, but I'm gonna say Benji. I think Benji is definitely underrated. Obviously, people who haven't seen NAL will think I'm high. I'm insane. Um, I think Benji is definitely going to be a surprise factor for Mirage. He has been the second best player on Mirage, and he did it against a very strong NAL field. That is undeniable. I think that we also have, as you said, the Patoxy is another underrated player. Nello is an underrated player. People have forgotten that 1v4 clutch that he got for
Yeah,
Navi against Wildcard. Just remember though. Just remember that those guys made that happen. We also, I think we are gonna see a little bit of underrating of Bolo. I think it's just traditional to see him because, like, Bolo hasn't had the best year, so people have begun underrating him. It's a bit hard to say Bolo, but I think people are thinking like, yeah, Bolo's a little bit washed. He's like kind of dropped off. I don't think exactly that's the case. Bolo in a system that works is probably going to be bettering a lot of people's expectations of him, and that's maybe how I would define underrated. And I also just want to say, like, Space Station, their frag is like Fultz, Rampy, and they are gonna be underrated too. Just people just think that they haven't won in a while, that they were of an old meta situation. I think they're gonna be surprisingly good in Group C. Overrated, I'm gonna come in with a little bit of a hot take here. I'm gonna say overrated is I9. I9 is really good.
Okay,
But
that's a good one.
internationally,
That's a good shout.
so many people say like, "Oh, I9 is so good. He's X Elevate. He's X."
Yeah.
He didn't really do that well, man. Like the last time he was here, he didn't really do that well. In stage 2, he wasn't that kind of a player who picked it up from the get-go. He took an entire stage to get used to how Fury play. Now, of course, that is to be expected for most players, but when you're trying to say you are one of the best players in APAC or best players in a certain region, you can't be one of those players. You have to be those players that pick it up instantly. I9 is not one of those players. And I think we are going to see Fury struggle when he gets shut down. I think that is definitely is coming their way. I'm not too familiar with other players who might be overrated. We might see. I think Arukaze is accurately rated, but I don't know if people still think he's like a really good player. He struggled in Berlin, and I think that was the appropriate level of performance to expect from a rookie player. I think he's going to do a little bit better, but he's not going to be lighting up the charts. And I think people expect the correct amount from him. But yeah, I think I9 is really the only player I have enough knowledge of to look at and say like, yeah, he is overrated by people. I don't think he's overrating himself. That is the caveat there. I think that's it, right, David? That's it from me? From us?
That's it, yeah.
All right. Okay. Which means it's time for the promised. What was I going to say? Trivia game. Sweden Major, JONKOPING Major trivia game. And we have done this trivia game for the past 2 majors. We did it for Charlotte. We did it for Berlin. We're not going to do a Kahoot this time because we had some technical issues the last time out. But we are just going to ask questions. And everyone in chat, we're going to give you, 20 seconds. Everyone's going to get 20 seconds. And you're going to hear my voice. David's going to hear it a little bit quicker, obviously. But, feel free to answer. And we'll see how many of you get this right. So, Sweden Major, JONKOPING Major, trivia time. Number 1. Swedish is an official language in which other country other than Sweden? David, you're European, you should know this.
Yeah, but can you repeat the question?
Which other country uses Swedish as an official language? As a national language?
Which other countries other than Sweden?
Yes.
Swedish.
Yes.
It has to be Finland. Finland, maybe.
You have a Finland in the house. Anyone in chat want to give it a shot? I know you guys are tied a little bit. You're arguing whether Liquefact or Bride or Shaiko is better about Dexter and Benji. But come on. You want to give it a shot? Which other country besides Sweden uses Swedish as an official language, as a national language? Beastie says Denmark. David says
Denmark can be Denmark or Norway, but I'm not sure about Norway.
Yeah, it could be Norway. It could be. Anyone else want to give it a shot? If not, we're going to reveal it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The answer is Finland. David, you're right. Well done. Doing better than you did last time. Excellent stuff. Finland, apparently about 6% of Finland's population are bilingual Finnish and Swedish. And they obviously live closer to Sweden. Now, what is who is considered, and it's a little bit of a out there question, who is considered to be one of Sweden's greatest literary figures? Maybe on the same level as someone from Russia like Dostoevsky.
Mm-hmm.
Who is one of the biggest names in terms of drama in Sweden? I'm going to give you 4 options for this to make it easier. Ibsen, Chekhov, Strindberg, or Shakespeare. I think if you choose one of these 4 options, I'm going to lose all respect for you.
Can you repeat the names?
Ibsen, Chekhov, Strindberg, Shakespeare.
The first one.
So you say Ibsen. Ibsen is the correct answer. I don't know if anyone in chat even knows this. I know we are gamers. I know literary things like plays aren't exactly what we think of all the time. Ooh, Beastie says Strindberg coming in hot, coming in late, going once, going twice. And the answer is Strindberg. Beastie gets 1 point. David remains on 1. Strindberg. Johann August Strindberg was born in Stockholm in 1849. He died in 1912. And he is best known for his plays and novels. Very, very, very cool. Now, next question. What is the name of the gulf, the body of water that separates Sweden and Finland? This body of water goes into the Baltic Sea. What is the name of this body of water? What is the name of the gulf?
I have literally no idea.
Geography? Anyone good at geography here?
I am good at geography. I don't know rivers and oceans.
Then you're not really good at geography, are you? Are you?
I mean, I know flags and I know countries and I know capitals. I don't know about lakes and.
Funny question. The next question is also about lakes, about
Oh.
water bodies. So you better be ready. Anyone want to give this a shot? You can pull up Google Maps if you want. See whether you can get it right in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The answer is the Gulf of Bothnia. Not Bosnia, but Bosnia with a lisp. Bothnia, or Bosnia. I don't know how you pronounce that, but Bosnia, Gulf of Bothnia. That is a body of water that separates Finland and Sweden. Next question. What is the name of the biggest lake in Sweden? And hint, this is also the 3rd biggest lake in all of Europe. It has an area of 5,650 square kilometers. It is humongous. It is a massive lake. The biggest lake in Sweden, 3rd biggest in Europe. The biggest lake in Sweden. Come on, guys. Is Sweden really that far up north that people don't know shit about it? I didn't know, actually. So I don't really have a leg to stand on. But because I am the host, I can laugh at you guys for not knowing. Because I have the answers in front of me.
I see.
I'm from NA. Geography is not for me. Yes, Pete. See, I should have known. Freaking NA players. NA gamers, no less. How disappointing. Alright. So, David, you have a guess? Any idea?
No.
No lakes? Name is Vanern. V-A with the umlauts. V-A-N-E-R-N. Vanern Lake. third biggest lake in Europe. Absolutely ginormous. I genuinely think 5,000. It's bigger than my entire country. My entire country is about 400 square kilometers. Singapore. We can fit 120 of Singapore's in this freaking lake. Nuts. This one, David, I think I'm going to give you a little bit of a bone. And Beastie, maybe, your NA geography is going to struggle here as well. How many countries share land borders with Sweden? Think of the maps.
Has to be two. Has to be two.
It's two. You want some bonus points, David? Name the countries.
But bonus points.
Yeah, one bonus point if you name the country. Both countries. If you say it's two. Or if it's three countries, name the three countries.
I mean, it should be. It should be Norway, and Finland, but it has to be. It has to be. But if there's a third country, because maybe an island shares territory with a random country, like Denmark or the Faroe Island, or I don't know,
All right,
But it
I'm
should
gonna
be
give you guys
Norway
the answer.
and Finland.
Beastie has tried. He says it's two, and he's trying for the name of the country. If he gets one country, so I'll give him half points if he's correct. The answer is two. Yes, so both of you get 1 point each. But David gets one extra point because Finland and Norway are the correct answers. Denmark is not one of the countries that borders Sweden. Denmark is very close, but it doesn't border Sweden. I believe Norway splits them. Oof, interesting.
No.
Yeah.
Denmark is like there's a sea. Norway doesn't split anything.
So, this one might be a little bit easier. Which southernmost Swedish county in Sweden has the same English name as a vehicle manufacturer? And Europeans, you should probably know this if you are Europeans. And David,
Can you repeat?
Which southernmost Swedish county has the same name in English as a vehicle manufacturer? Very prominent, very well-known vehicle manufacturer, especially in Europe. And this Swedish county has the same name as this vehicle manufacturer.
I need the vehicle manufacturer is English as well.
No, the name in English is the same as the county name in Sweden. Because I assume this vehicle manufacturer comes from that place in Sweden. So what is the name of this place? There's this place in Sweden. It's got a famous vehicle manufacturer. What is the name of this place, which has the same name as the vehicle manufacturer?
I'm thinking of vehicle manufacturers, and I only think of the Japanese ones, like Suzuki, Mazda. All of these.
It's a Swedish brand.
It's Swedish one.
It's always IKEA.
Yeah,
I don't think
IKEA as well.
I don't think IKEA are making vehicles just yet. Dacer of TARDIS.
Skoda is not Swedish. I don't think so. I think Skoda is like Czech or something like that.
Skoda is Czech.
Renault is French.
Yeah. They don't make
Seat
cars.
is
That's your
Spanish.
next hint.
They don't make cars.
No.
And the question
David,
was, sorry?
Who are these vehicle manufacturers that hail from the same place that they are named after?
I have no idea.
All right, no one has any idea. Dacer of TARDIS says IKEA. Beastie says DIY cars from IKEA is the future. No, the answer is Scania. They are a very well-known manufacturer of trucks and buses. If you look at trucks, anytime in Europe, you're going to see half of those trucks are Scania trucks. In Singapore, too, we have a lot of Scania trucks and buses. Very, very interesting. Now, Scania these nuts. Yep, that's of TARDIS. Yep, that's fair. Next one. History buffs. Who was the Prime Minister of Sweden who was assassinated in 1986? Which Swedish prime minister was assassinated in 1986. He was walking home after watching a movie, and his killer was never found. Who was this prime minister? Franz Ferdinand. Wrong year, my friend. 1986.
$1986.
Yeah. I think he's the only guy who's been Swedish prime minister and gotten assassinated as well. Kjellberg. Oh god.
I'm thinking of death.
That's PewDiePie, by the way, if you guys are wondering. Prime Minister
really
of
don't know.
Sweden.
I really
Okay,
don't
the
know.
answer is history fans, if you wanted to know. Olof Palme. I don't think I'm pronouncing this right, but Olof Palme, 1986, PM of Sweden, and assassinated while walking home after a really sucky situation. Now, I'm going to give this next one to whoever can do it first in chat, because David's gonna kind of get like a unfair advantage. But what is the name of the world famous furniture company from Sweden?
The famous name of?
The world famous furniture company from Sweden.
Can I say it now?
That's whoever gets it in chat first. Yeah. Type it out.
I have to type it.
Yeah. Type it in chat. Oh, that's so Tardis.
I mean,
Beat
I
you.
knew, but
Yeah, I know you knew. We're gonna give. Yeah, everyone knows this one. It's IKEA. Yeah, and if you guys didn't know, I have no idea what the hell you've been doing with your lives.
I'm waiting for your question about Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Just saying.
Hey. Yeah. Maybe I'll ask that. Out of the head of the curve, give it to the man. Tardis. All right. David. Let's see. Which one should I go? How did the Swedish group ABBA get their name? Anyone familiar with ABBA? I know we're all young people here, but ABBA, come on, like
I mean,
ABBA.
Eurovision.
You surely know, like Dancing Queen, Mamma Mia.
Yeah. I don't know the
ABBA.
origin of the name, honestly. I
Really,
don't
it's
know the
very
origin
easy.
of the name.
There's a reason.
Wait,
like
wait. Is it because the rhymes they do are like ABBA or something like that, or
the
not?
rhymes.
Like
Oh, like the rhyming
I don't know
structure
how
of the
to say it.
songs.
Yeah, the rhyming structure of the songs. Yeah.
I would rather team with Yardi than listen to ABBA.
I really don't know. Honestly, that's the only.
I'm gonna give you guys a hint. There's a reason ABBA is capitalized when it's written. All of the letters are in capital. ABBA.
Yeah. I have no idea.
Why? Do you know? I'm gonna give you guys the answer. Because they are the first letters of the members' first names.
Oh,
Agneta,
no way.
Bjorn, Benny, and Anfred. Very,
No way.
very, very, very easy to know if you are a little bit familiar with
The names. Yeah.
Emma. Now we know that the Nobel Prize is a Swedish phenomenon. It's a Swedish invention. It's no Swedish prize. But Alfred Nobel, who created this prize, or for whom this prize was named after, what invention did he create?
I know.
What invention did he create when he was
I know.
an inventor?
Can I say?
Yeah.
Can I answer?
Oh,
The dynamite.
Dynamite. That's right. Dynamite. Oh, a lot of people know this one. Very nice. My
Yeah,
coffee
and he
addiction come in
invested all
strong.
all the money that he won from dynamite to the Nobel Prize to make something good
Yeah.
for the
Fantastic.
world.
We're gonna give the points. Tardas gets the point. My coffee gets a point. David gets a point. Very nice. Now, I'm not gonna give you an ABBA question. I actually had one lined up, but since none of you really know what ABBA is, I'm gonna ask you who was the person from Sweden that called France a shit country, and then after that apologized for it.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Zlatan
Zlatan
Ibrahimovic.
Ibrahimovic. I think this is one of the best headlines in football history, and that's really crazy because they've been really good one because there was
I
like a
knew it
headline
was
published.
coming. I knew it was coming.
Zlatan apologizes for calling France a shit country. Google those exact words. You'll find that headline is one of my funniest headlines that I've ever seen in my life. We're gonna end this off with the final geography-ish question. If you guys are Americans, I think you might struggle with this one. What is the color of the cross of the Swedish flag?
Yellow.
Is it yellow? Is it red? Is it white? Is it
Yellow.
Is it, I don't know, blue?
Red
BC
one
says
is
yellow.
for red one is the Faroe Islands. I think they are red and blue and white. Yeah. Or maybe not. Wait a second. But it's yellow as well. Yeah, it's red. Yeah, Faroe Islands.
Blind discrimination is what this is. I love this TARDIS dude. He's hilarious. The answer is yellow. I think everyone is familiar with this one. I'm so glad that there aren't people who don't know this, or if you didn't know, I'm glad you didn't say it because you would have been exposed by not knowing this. Yeah. Oh, actually, I have one final question. Oh yes, I blue or yellow. What is this 2018? I have actually a final question. What is a Swedish dish? A delicacy in Sweden, but in the rest of the world, it's considered to be one of the worst and most disgusting dishes in the entire world. But it comes from Sweden. It is.
I know it. The
What is the name?
Surströmming.
Surströmming, David says.
Yeah,
Is it
that's
Surströmming?
yeah. I've seen videos of it.
Yeah, the
It's
answer is
very good.
Surströmming, and I'm just gonna it's that fish, isn't it? BC exactly is that horrible fish, and let me just tell you to close this off because we're having fun right now. What on earth? TARDIS, you missed pretty much everything. I'm sorry. We've gone through most of what we wanted to preview, our predictions and everything. So you can go watch the VOD. We're gonna put it on YouTube as well. Sorry about that. We're playing our trivia game at the end. But so Stroming, to close this out, one of the most disgusting things. You first you take this. Where do I even start this? Like, there's so this started when there was a salt shortage in Sweden, like the 16th century. So you catch this fish in this herring in the spring, you salt it and you leave it to ferment, and you bury it like underground for like 6 months, dude. Beastie, yeah, dude. Beastie, you think if he's joking in chat when he says you open the can of that stuff and it's gonna get on your clothes? It's like the Seinfeld episode, like about BO. That thing is never gonna leave you. Please do not get in your car or something, because you're gonna have to sell the car at that point. You take the raw herring, you just put enough salt to make sure it doesn't rot. Then you put it underground and you let it ferment for at least 6 months. And that gives you that acidic taste and that strong smell. It is one of the most putrid food smells in the world. And even Gordon Ramsay could not swallow surströmming when he tried it on camera, on the F word. Yeah, Beastie is right. That smell is going to get everywhere. So if any of you guys are going to DreamHack Winter or this major, if someone offers you surströmming, get naked before you try it so you don't have to waste your clothes. That might be a good idea. But that's pretty much it. Surströmming is where we're going to end off. Let's see who's going to have a stinker off a major on Monday. Let's see who is going to have a good situation and who's going to have a fragrant and amazing Swedish major and get to JONKOPING to play on the main stage. We'll be back on Thursday, David. You and I, on the break day, we will talk about the group stage. We will review it and we'll preview the playoffs. That'll be our next episode. And that's pretty much it for us from tonight. Thank you very, very much for everyone who tuned in. We had a very nice, dedicated audience today. Very good participation. That's what I love to see. And I love that everyone is hyped up for the Jönköping Major. It's gonna be one hell of a situation, even though the football World Cup and I think something else
Yeah.
is on as well. See y'all, everyone, and have a good day, night, morning, whatever, wherever you are. Bye.